Welcome back to watching the Battery Life Daily.
I thought you were going to call it International Fiasco Daily. Let's spin the whale today, Brad, and see. Sorry.
We will shut it down right now.
I'll be good.
It doesn't even matter. Anyways, so if Microsoft lets us defer home updates in Windows 10, this computer that I'm on right now will be deferred for about 48 years. Not this computer, but the podcast box.
I need to take a picture of this. I guess this is the new game capture screen in 19H1. Just popped up, so I could capture the Skype. Okay, just get rid of that. Yeah, because everything's working great in 19H1. We're ready to roll. Anyhow, you were saying. Sorry, just completely. I'm okay.
Should we just restart it?
No, we're good. We're good.
You sure? Anyways, if you can, Microsoft's going to let us defer updates on Windows Home Premium. Windows Home Premium. Does that even make sense?
No.
Home.
Just home.
Yeah. Something was off.
Well, May right?
Yeah.
So this is the problem. It's kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I suspect it won't, but I need them to let me know.
I do too, but God, listen, this is 4 years in the making. This needs to happen. It's literally the biggest problem with Windows 10. For all the other stuff, the fact that Windows 10 home users, who tend to be the normal, typical human beings that don't give it, don't care about tech enthusiasm, whatever, have no method by which to ensure that the updates they're installing are actually of high quality, by deferring them for maybe a month, which I think is prudent for just about everybody, is just a crime. And I don't understand how that is the case. Back in January, I installed some update, some 19H1 update, and noticed that there was a 7-day deferral entry in Windows 10 Home. If you're familiar, let me just bring it up, because if you're familiar with how this works, if you go to Windows Update today in Windows 10, not the 19H1 version, but the shipping versions, you'll see 3 links below check for updates: change active hours, view update history, and advanced options. In Windows 10 Pro, you can go into Windows 10 options, into advanced options, and you can defer feature updates for up to a year, and you can defer quality updates, monthly cumulative updates, for up to 30 days, not 35 days, but 30 days, I believe. So starting with some 19H1 build, they added a 4th entry to that list: pause updates for 7 days. It's just like a quick link. In other words, you can just go in, tap it. You don't have to look at settings. It doesn't permanently change anything. It's just, we're going to pause updates for 7 days. Just give you a little breathing space. The interesting thing about it is it appeared in Windows 10 Home as well as Pro, right? Now, that could be a glitch, right?
Yeah,
it could literally be their
yeah.
And look, 7 days isn't enough. But in a system where you have 0 days today, baby steps, whatever. I'll take whatever improvement I can get. In the latest build that came out just the other day, the one that had Android screen mirroring, some user on Reddit actually clean installed the system rather than just upgrading to it. So he probably did a reset or something, or extracted an ISO, whatever he did. But when he did that on Windows 10 Home, he got a way through advanced updates, advanced options on Home to defer updates for 35 days. Now, on my system here, which is Pro, I see the same exact option, but the reason I'm a little nervous is that's all I see. Like, it actually doesn't have the old updates, the old options for pausing or deferring feature and quality updates for a year or a month. Like, those are gone. Now, I think it's just all a glitch. I think what's happening is they're testing this. They're thinking about it. They're getting feedback, whatever. Cross your fingers, sacrifice a chicken, whatever it is you do, because this is something Microsoft needs to do desperately. This is the right thing to do, not for fans, which is the quote that Mary Jo got. We're always trying to do the right thing for fans. No, you do the right thing for everybody.
Yeah.
And this is the right thing to do. So we shall see. Right now it's hanging in the balance. We have some random build that has this random setting that's wrong on both systems. We don't know where they're going to go with it. It's possible this thing ships and it just goes right back to the way it always was. But like I said, how hopeful I am. I'm hoping that they just do the right thing here.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Exactly.
We'll see. And meanwhile, while Microsoft is tinkering with a desktop, Android Q dropped yesterday, which includes a bunch of different stuff, including native dark mode across the entire thing. But Mahedi wrote up this morning, it actually includes a continuum-like feature, which allows you to bring a desktop experience using your mobile device. Right? Baked in.
I didn't read about this. And you just called it a continuum type feature. Is that the point of it?
I think so.
It's for broadcasting the desktop to an external screen, like the Samsung thing. What do they call that? Samsung has a continuum-like feature in their Galaxy phones.
Yeah, so apparently what it allows you to do is to force desktop mode, and when connected to an external monitor, you'll be able to use the desktop mode with your Android phone. The feature works very similar to DeX that Samsung
DeX,
uses.
Thank you. Okay, good. So I'm glad to hear that's what this is. I think there's a little bit of a mixed message here because Google has pretty much turned to Chrome OS for tablets. And now that Chrome OS can run Android apps, that's where those things will run, apparently. But, when Samsung came out with DeX, I vaguely thought it was a good idea in the same way that I vaguely thought Continuum on Windows Phone was a good idea. But I felt very strongly that this needed to come from the platform maker, right? That it should not be a Samsung feature. This should be something that
an Android
Google,
feature. Yeah.
Yes. So I guess we're going to learn more at Google I/O. That's just like we always defer, if you will, to build on the Microsoft side. We do the same for Google I/O on the Google side. Interesting. That's good. That's where it should be.
Yeah. So we will see if that turns into anything larger than just kind of a novelty project that's available. Because this is look, for the same reason again that the feature on Windows Phone made sense vaguely, right? The note you carry your phone around with you. You could have a dock at work, a dock at home, whatever it is. You plug the thing in. You're working on it all day. Your documents are all in one place. Yes, they should be in the cloud anyway. Whatever. But I like the idea of a simplified desktop environment. We talk a lot about this Light OS thing that Microsoft's working on. That's an attempt at slimming down Windows, whatever. This is an attempt to maybe start to make Android more viable. As kind of a docked desktop. It's a good idea. Yeah, we'll see. As you said, Android I/O is, the same week as build. So we will learn.
Yes, it is.
We will learn
probably starts on the 8th and the build starts on the 7th, something like that. Yeah.
Just conveniently kicking off conferences on a Monday because that's what
good stuff.
The cool kids do.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Paul, you wanted to talk us on about Surface here.
So I assume, did you read it at least?
I did.
Yeah. So I wrote an article yesterday about Google and a story in Bloomberg about how, actually it was in Business Insider, that Google is stepping back from its hardware ambitions, at least in the laptop and tablet space, which if you follow this business makes tons of sense because these devices are terrible and too expensive and whatever. And Google, I think has a broader hardware problem in that they're like Microsoft is kind of a boutique hardware maker. And I compared the issues that Google has to it making hardware to the issues that Microsoft has, which boil down to they're not Apple, right? Everyone uses this Alan Kay quote from the 1970s. If you're serious about software, you have to make your own hardware. And they've applied it literally, like, I guess we have to make our own phones and laptops, Alan Kay's quote from the 1970s made sense in two different contexts. One is for a company that only makes their own hardware and doesn't license their OS to others like Microsoft and Google do. That's what Apple does. So this system works for Apple, but also it was the 1970s. Like things are really different now. And
a little bit.
A little bit. There are advantages that Google and Microsoft have created in hardware that I think makes sense for them as companies. There's the I've already forgotten the name of it. There's a pixel hardware component in some Surface devices, Pixel Sense or whatever they call it, that makes the pen latency better, right? With that screen between the screen and the pen, without requiring you to update the screen itself or the pen itself, right? It's something built into the system. On the Google side, they have some kind of a hardware sensor that's built into the camera that helps make this camera so excellent. My notion for these companies is that you can't partner and compete with the same companies. right? Google makes phones and licenses the same OS to Samsung and all these other companies. Microsoft makes PCs and they license the same OS to HP, Lenovo, Dell, whoever, Like this system inherently is broken. And my idea was simply that what they should be doing is licensing those hardware components to third parties so that those products could be better. And there's a revenue stream there. That hardware business would make money, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas the existing hardware businesses are not profitable. So, okay, I just did that as part. And then I went on about Google. I do this a lot. Like because Microsoft, I have such a rich history with Microsoft, I often see things out in the world with Apple or Google or whoever that remind me of things that happened with Microsoft. And so I was just comparing these two things, which I think are very comparable. But, what happens in our world, and you're familiar with this too, is people take everything really personally. So someone took a great exception to the fact that I called Surface unsuccessful. And in this guy's mind, Surface is very successful. And of course, he mixed a lot of emotional non-facts with facts and to make his case, and that I was wrong, basically. And I guess there's a couple of problems with what happened here. One is that post that I'm referring to was a premium post. And by not putting the comment in the premium post and putting it outside, he's kind of broken through the wall of our business model, which is not cool, actually.
Well,
right?
And this was actually my confusion, too, with this post, is there's no context for it.
Right.
I read his.
Not everyone's going to see it. Yeah.
And I'm not trying to dump on the post. I'm just trying to say, I read the post and I didn't know what it was referring to. We publish a lot of content. I can't read everything.
And yesterday, for some reason, I ended up writing 3 premium posts. So
and there was a bunch of other posts that went out too.
It was a busy day. Yeah, for sure. So, but it just so people understand. I mean, we've gone down this path that we've gone down. We argue and debate about it, and I wish we could just give everything away for free, but by breaking out an argument that I made in a premium post and making it public, you've kind of usurped our business model, and it's not cool to do that. But actually, the bigger issue I have, honestly, is just the kind of personalization of it. It's like Paul's wrong. Paul's a jerk. Paul wants to make Surface look bad. Paul doesn't like Surface. Paul doesn't understand that Surface is special and that it's actually very successful. And it's like, okay, hold on a second. First of all, and this is something I run into a lot. I mean, I don't know if it's just my Boston upbringing or just the way that I am naturally, whatever it is, but I just speak.
I got a few guesses.
Yeah, it's just kind of the central massholeness of my life. I just speak bluntly and clearly and plainly, and some people, have a problem with that. But the bigger issue really is they take it personally, right? So in other words, you as a Surface fan maybe have spent a lot of money on Surface products, and you see someone in your mind shitting on Surface, and that's not cool. That's not right. That you kind of freak out. You see this a lot with tech enthusiasm, whether it's Apple guys or Tesla, like that Tesla idiot in Twitter the other day, right? Talking about cars. He's like, well, Tesla uses blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I'm not talking about Tesla fans. I'm talking about car fans. Like, get over it. Now, there are more car fans than Tesla fans. Sorry. Like, see, Tesla is just a little part of it. But anyway, I wish we could get past that. I think in our world, Brad, there are a lot of sites, and I won't name them, but that
feed
I
don't feel like bleeping them out this time.
Well, but they feed on this emotional thinking. You see it a lot in the Apple world, especially, right? It's all partisan stuff. Giant 3,000-word editorials about this idiot was stupid enough to criticize Apple, and now we're going to tear them apart, and Apple, that kind of. And it's just, guys, look. As I wrote in my response to this post, you and I, Brad, have talked a lot about the strange, special something about Surface. We feel it. There are things that are concrete. You can point to the display, which is 3x2 and beautiful, the keyboard, which is perfect, trackpad, which is great. But there's something. I agree that there is something special about Surface.
It's because the Surface brand doesn't make cheap stuff too, right? It's the Lexus Toyota thing. Lexus is a great brand, but at the end of the day, you can kind of feel like you're just driving a real fancy Corolla.
Okay, so let's use that. That's an interesting example because the difference between Surface and, well, no, it's not a difference. Okay, let me not say it that way. Surface, like, say, the MacBook Pro, also comes with certain limitations compared to other computers, right? Microsoft has not embraced Thunderbolt 3, unlike literally the rest of the industry. They've stuck with this dated Surface Connect USB technology they have, and it's really weird. And like every time they release something without a USB-C port, let alone without Thunderbolt 3 capabilities, it's just weird. and you have to accept that limitation. It's like you buy a car and it doesn't have a rear driver's side door for some reason. That's Surface. Like, God, it's perfect. I don't know why they don't have a door there. Everyone else does. I still love it because I love the design. I love the feel of the ride, whatever it is. That's the kind of way I think of it. Apple has its own limitations. They only have USB-C Thunderbolt 3, and that's been a problem. The keyboards, a lot of people don't like, whatever it is. But you have to separate. I guess what I'm trying to say is I try to separate my kind of emotional opinion response to something from just facts, and this was not a hit job. I was not going after Surface. I was making what I still feel was a very rational comparison. And I guess one of my goals for this site is to rise above this kind of partisan emotional thinking, and you see this out in the world in our factless society today. People, there's a documentary on Netflix now about flat earthers. And the guy's like, look, I can see that thing over there on the edge of the water. That means the world's not, I can see it. So the world's flat. And you guys, all you have is math and all this nonsense, but I can see that with my own eyes. And that's how people think, like a lot of people. It's like, I get on a subway every day and I commute to work and I never see anyone using a Chromebook. Therefore, Chromebooks are not popular.
Right.
Or, everyone has these little anecdotal, stupid, stupid's maybe the wrong word, but it's personal experiences that they explode out to be just a fact for the rest of the world, And I'm not trying to rip on this guy. I appreciate where he's coming from. I guess what I was trying, I want to make sure it's clear that I agree with him that, and I think you do too, that there is something special about Surface.
Sure, they sell $1 billion worth of hardware every quarter.
And by revenue.
Right. I was going to make the point. The one thing we don't know is what's the net income on that.
Well, it's negative. And the reason we know it's negative is Microsoft has never once said anything about it being profitable. And we also know that in the PC business, we're talking about a razor-thin margin thing.
Yep.
The reason that PC makers have always put crapware on their computers is because that was the only way they could make money. You got to know that companies like HP and Lenovo specifically, but also Dell and some others, sell tens of millions of computers every single quarter, 10 times or more what Microsoft sells. And they make a little bit of money.
Yeah, I think the average margin is like 1.5% on PC hardware across the industry.
Well,
minus
they
Apple.
benefit. Yes, so they benefit from something that Microsoft doesn't, which is volume discounts on hardware components. And it is inconceivable that Microsoft's business will ever be profitable using the strictest sense of the term. The reason that Microsoft keeps Surface in market we can debate. I think there are many reasons they do it. They get to put these things, it kind of promotes their brand. When Microsoft has public events or Microsoft executives go on TV or whatever, they can open up a laptop that has their logo on it. It's not a Dell or an HP, it's them. And I think it promotes the broader brand. They're going for the premium PC space for a reason. It's one of the few places where you could make money if you were trying, if they could, but it also becomes an aspirational type device. And as the person mentioned in his post, it's accurate to say, I mean, Surface Pro, or maybe another commenter mentioned, the Surface Pro form factor has formalized this 2-in-1 tablet design. Everyone has ripped it off. And by everyone, I mean literally every single PC maker on earth and Apple and Google, which have made iOS and Chrome OS based devices that look exactly like a Surface Pro. So this thing is as successful a design as is the MacBook Air, because everyone ripped that one off too. And so that's fair. But I just want people to understand, there's no motive here, right? Like I love
unless
Surface.
They're Australian.
Screw those guys. But as far as, no, I'm just kidding. But I love Australia. I mean, anyone who's ever met me knows this. But my life's purpose is not to undermine Microsoft or Surface or your love of the brand, right? I mean, when Windows Phone was failing, my job, as I see it, is just to be honest about it and to help and to turn around maybe some of the bad decisions we had made in the past. I feel these things emotionally just like everyone else does, whether you're talking about Microsoft Band or Windows Phone or Zune or Media Center or whatever it is, but Windows Home Server, we can go on and on and on. I was a huge fan of all of these products. I've recommended them to others. I watched them fail in the marketplace, and I felt it emotionally. But when you write about this stuff, when you analyze these markets or whatever it is, I need to work with facts and I just be honest about it. That's all. I'm not holding pom-poms over on the side of the field, go Surfers go. Except, there is a part of me that wants it to succeed, of course. I'm a human being, but that's not my point on the site. That's all.
Is your soapbox done?
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
My
fair.
soapbox. It's too bad we didn't have special effects. You could just have like soap flakes fall from the sky or something.
We can make it happen. We have the technology.
I guess my point simply, if there is one point, because there's a couple of things in here, unfortunately, is just it bothers me that people see something like that and think I was trying to undermine Surface. Because when all I'm doing is being honest, to kind of get that response from someone is, I'd say it's confusing, but unfortunately it happens a lot. And I think it's because we are so used to today, not just in tech, but in the broader world, of letting our emotions guide our thinking, and kind of usurp our opinions and decisions, and it's terrible to me that happens.
I got nothing.
Thank you for letting me have those 5 or 6 minutes of whatever.
5
that
or
someone
6
will
might
call
be
a
rounding
rant or whatever it is. I don't know.
Well, you feel better now?
No. I wish this never happened. Yeah.
Well.
Okay. Fine.
Good. I got nothing. It's raining. It should be beautiful weather there today, by the way.
Yeah, next couple of days are going to be nice. And by the way, I'll go out on a limb and just make this prediction, and thus ensuring that we will get 3 feet of snow before April 1st. Spring is clearly here. And what I base that on is just the weather forecast for the next 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It goes up and down a little bit, but we're pretty much looking between 40 and 60 degrees every day now.
Yeah, which is nice.
And yeah, and I need this. You can see the little red buds are out in the trees and stuff. Mm-hmm. Remember when I moved here, my goal was an extra month of spring at the beginning and an extra month of fall at the end, and we did not get that last year.
Not last year.
I was here 2 years ago visiting my family, and I have pictures of my sister's backyard, and it is full-blown spring. Everything's green. The trees are all out. Beautiful. And I was in her house on almost exactly the same day last year, and it was brown, leafless, dead. The spring we had last year here was just like the ones we used to get in Boston. But I'm not what do you call it? Superstitious, but saying this out loud is going to screw it up.
If we get snow,
I know.
It is your fault.
I know, but I think this is the spring I always wanted is happening, and nothing's going to stop it, Brad. Nothing.
Except the Australians. All right, folks. Well, that wraps it up for today. And I think tomorrow's Friday, which means it's going to be a live show. And so we'll be doing that at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Have yourselves a wonderful Thursday.